Video 4. Last video, the main focus was centers of excellence. Talking about some of my experiences with Kanye. But a word that was mentioned in that video was accountability. And accountability for me is a critical thing. It's something anyone that knows me knows that I harp on accountability. Say what you're going to do and do what you're going to say, and so on and so forth. And your word is your bond. If you say you give someone your word, you honor it. If you break that word, you take accountability for it. You apologize. You come forth and say, hey, I know this is what we agreed on, or this is what we discussed. Circumstances have changed. All of that's totally fine. It's just about communication. It's about transparency. It's about accountability. And so ownership. Especially if you want to be a center of excellence. You got to be accountable to your end users, to your team, so on and so forth. And one of my favorite, business experiences where accountability was always front and center was at Lululemon. And I got to say, I really enjoyed working at Lululemon. It was a short place that I worked at. I worked there for a short time, like 90 days. And the funny part of that is, I think it took a little more than 90 days to interview to get the job. But, which also reminds me that, they were looking for a store of the future director. And, one of my favorite humans on the earth, Dr. Tom Waller, he was the head of innovation at the time. And this is around 2015. And we had come to know each other because we both interviewed to be innovation directors for Lululemon in 2010. When I left Nike, I interviewed for that job before I ended up going to Under Armour. And, he's a PhD. He had come out of Speedo Innovation. I came out of Nike Innovation. He came out of University of Loughborough. I mean, just a brilliant guy. I love Tom. Been impressed with him ever since we met, and just have the utmost respect for him. And I think they made a great choice. And when I got to go join the team, I just really enjoyed working with him. But accountability, what I loved at Lululemon was they started their meetings with, here's the itinerary, the agenda for the meeting, what we need to accomplish. 5 to 10 minutes before the meeting ends, is there anything we missed? Do we need to wrap up? So a lot of accountability at Lululemon. And it just reinforced for me as a person who's always lived his life under a commitment to accountability, expecting it from others. It's how I was raised, and just backing anything I say. My word is my bond. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And if I can't do it, something changes. If someone tells me they're going to do something, they can't do it, something changes, you just take accountability. You say, hey, I know we agreed on this. I know this is what we talked about. These are the things that have changed, and I can't do it. That's just being accountable. Whether you do it or you don't do it, you hold yourself accountable. You can be held accountable. And so accountability is just, it's just such an important quality in every example I can think of. But additionally at Lululemon, when I got the job to help design their store of the future, they were top 3 retailer in North America for 10 years. I had never done retail. And so part of the discussion, Tom believed in me as an innovator, as a problem solver, as just an out-of-the-box thinker. He basically put my name in the hat, and people that were head of retail, amazing people. Celeste, I loved her. I ended up working for her, reporting to her, but still a huge fan of that organization and the people in it. But part of them believing that I was the person who could help them design the store of the future was, again, my approach to innovation, my approach to problem solving. And simply put, when I realized they were the top retailers for 10 years running, and their metric for that, which put them in third only behind Tiffany's and Apple, was dollars per square foot earned, essentially. And so, their revenue in dollars per square foot. And so I just realized, well, I don't need to be the best at retail. You guys are the best at retail. But what I need to do is use my experience in innovation, problem solving, out of the box thinking, and curiosity to ask all the right questions to get all the right information from your team and your leadership and everyone that helped that brand to become the best at retail in their industry. And so they agreed to bring me in. And what I ended up doing was about every other week, every third week, I'd sat down with the CEO, the SVPs, some of the founding, members of that organization. And I asked questions about why they thought they were the best at retail. What could they do better? What would they like to see done in a store of the future? And so as I collected those answers, all I had to do was ask the right questions. And every conversation, I would memorialize the information. I'd take notes. And then I had another partner, Tether, which is an amazing, design and advertising, shop in Seattle that another friend of mine founded, Stanley Hainsworth, just a legend of a person. I'll have to talk about that in another video. But I worked with them to help storytell. I became the information collector at Lulu. I would go down to Seattle to Tether. I would sit with a team for the day. We would build a deck that would basically map out version 1 of Store of the Future proposal. And we would create images, and I would take all the information, and then I would also put notes of who gave the insight of that information. And I would ring bind that deck into a 11 by 17 horizontal, and I would take it back, meet with all the same people in the organization, show them the deck. They would see that their input was implemented into the deck. So then that encouraged them that, one, I was listening to them, taking their input, and then they were able to see everyone else's input in that deck. And that stimulated more ideas. And then I would take their feedback and I would evolve it and do a version 2, go back to Tether in Seattle, do a version 2. And then, a version 3 and a version 4. And in 90 days, essentially, I had done about 9 versions of what the Store of the Future looked like. Refinement until that V9. And I was able to, in such a short period of time, which again impressed everyone in the organization. It was a method and an output that I'd never done. I'd never seen anyone do it per se. It was a version of an aggregation of types of things that I'd observed like it in my career up to that point. And then my boss was able to take that deck and take it to the board and make proposals based on a refined collaboration within the organization, within the leaders of the organization, and make decisions on how they wanted to proceed. So it was an incredibly fulfilling experience for me. I loved working with them. All the feedback from everyone involved was super positive, but again, the accountability of taking the information from each member of that organization, putting it into hard copy, and then acknowledging that they were the one I got it from. It just built such an incredible result of collaboration, team effort, clear communication, all of which was centered on accountability. So, I don't know how to make it more clear than that, but it was a good time. It was great experience, and I have done many things like it since, because it was such a successful, high-speed turnaround and groundbreaking project, essentially. So, all right. Please throw some comments at me. Man, I broke 10 minutes on this one. I felt like I was trying to go fast too. I gotta put the brakes on this stuff. But thanks, share it, and give me any feedback, comments. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. See you again. Out.